Hello there, my name's Hugh Della, and along with my co-author Andrew Walkley, I'm responsible for the 6th level General English series Outcomes, published by National Geographic Learning. One of the questions that I get asked a lot when I'm working with groups of international teachers is, what makes a good teacher? And it's an interesting question, I think, because obviously there's been a lot of research across a range of different teaching disciplines into what makes teaching effective. Okay. And I'm not sure if when people ask what makes a good teacher, they mean an effective teacher, but I think effectiveness is one of the ways in which we can think about what we're doing as being worthwhile. Or being good in terms of delivering something valuable to the students that we work with. And what's interesting for me is when you read the research about what makes effective teaching, a lot of it is true across whatever subject you're teaching. Okay, it's not EFL specific, and there are certain features of what makes effective teaching in the research that I think apply to what we do as well as EFL teachers. So it's just things like being clear about your objectives and your aims, both being clear yourself about where you want to try to take your students and what you want them to get better at, and transmitting that kind of clarity to your students and to your learners so that students know where you're trying to take them and maybe as a result feel more comfortable about the route they're being taken along. Effective teaching means spacing out input and interleaving input with other things. In EFL terms, maybe, this means not trying to teach everything about one particular grammar point or lexical point at one time, and rather spacing it out over a period of time, doing a little bit here, a little bit there, and interleaving the study of one thing, interweaving, if you like, the study of one thing with the study of other things. Effective teaching means a lot of low stakes testing, soft testing, if you like, because that helps to keep the memory working. It helps to send the message to students that we expect them to try to remember and show us that they've remembered some of what we try to teach during the classroom. It means thinking about feedback, giving clear feedback on how well students did when they tried to achieve some of the aims that we set out for them to achieve, and giving what you could call feed forward in terms of input which will help them perform those tasks better next time they try to perform them. I think effective teaching means giving worked examples, so showing students what we want them to do, scaffolding the instructions and the input in such a way that students have a clear sense of how what we've been giving them will be put together in the way that we want them to try to put it together. It means asking better questions, asking questions which are more involving, which require a bit more processing, which leave a bit more space for our students. And I think also effective teaching means adopting evidence-based practices, evidence-based strategies, which means keeping up with what the research is telling us about what works well and what works slightly less well. Having said all of that, okay, that isn't the answer that I usually give when people ask me what makes a good teacher, because I think actually at the heart of it, what really makes a good teacher in any subject is the fact that the teacher cares, okay? And I think that means cares about lots of different things. First and foremost, good teachers care about the people that they're in the room with. They care about them on a human level. They care about their feelings, their emotions, their lives, their well-being. Because of that, they care about how well they're progressing academically. They care about what might be stopping them from progressing well academically. They care about their presence. They care about their involvement in the class. They care about their interactions with other students and with themselves. And once you care about your students, you then also care about what you're doing as a teacher. You care about the way in which you deliver your classes. You care about the degree to which you feel you're being effective. You care about what you're doing and whether there are things that you could learn that will help you do what you do better. And when you think of the teachers you've had in your life who've made a big impact on you, and you know, for most of us, we only need one or two really transformatively great teachers in our lives to have a really positive impact on us. As I've probably said before in these videos, I wouldn't be here making these videos talking to you if it hadn't been for my English teacher, Sue Briggs, who was a huge presence in my life when I was 15, 16, 17. And what was really remarkable about that teacher, and I'm sure about the teachers that transformed lives on your side of the screen, is they cared. They cared about me as people, me as a person. They cared about us as a group, as people, about our interaction and about our learning. So if you care, you're probably a good teacher. And if you care, that's probably why you've managed to sit to the end of this video.